Welcome to a new deep dive. Here, we unpack fascinating insights from the sources you share with us. We've all met them, right? People whose words are, well, loud, but their actions kind of missing. So our mission today is to explore exactly that. We're diving into a single source you sent, looking at a really insightful Marathi proverb. It's all about understanding this age-old truth, and this source gives us a great shortcut. Okay, let's unpack this. So the source immediately introduces this Marathi proverb by saying, no, but and the literal translation is pretty blunt. No one fears a barking dog. Straight to the point, isn't it?
It really is. And what the source does well is explain that core meaning. It's not just any noise. It's specifically about people who, make these big claims, talk a lot, but then there's just nothing, no follow through. The source says their talk might be loud, sure, but it lacks, strength, power, even loyalty or sincerity, just empty noise, basically.
That makes me think of the scenario the source gives, which I bet feels familiar to a lot of people listening. It paints this picture. Office ganda, ay pagkakakane. Epikito ko natin no? Din kasi ang mama ko ni tamgo kono marami ko. Office ganda sa kinapagno. Which translates to an office colleague who constantly boasts or threatens in front of the boss, but does no work. And then the source asks, point blank, does anyone really take that person seriously? It really hits home, that example. Why do you think that is?
Oh, absolutely. It hits home because, who hasn't seen that? In an office, maybe somewhere else, the source uses it perfectly to show that gap, that huge disconnect between the talk and the walk. It really underlines the futility of just barking if there's no intention, no capability of actually biting. And it's not just that the person isn't effective. The source kind of hints that it also, it wears down trust all around them. People get cynical.
Right. Those empty boasts don't just fail, they actually damage the value of communication there. That's a really strong point. Okay, so the office example shows the problem clearly. How does the source then connect that everyday thing to a deeper life lesson?
Well, it leads directly to the main point. The source is very clear. The word. Action is more important than words. Simple as that.
Simple but powerful.
Exactly. It's not just a statement. It really emphasizes where genuine influence comes from, where credibility is built. Maybe the insight isn't just that action matters more, but how it quietly builds up, building reputation, building trust over time. Words alone rarely do that.
That's a great way to put it, shifting the focus to how that power accumulates. And the source really rams this point home with this incredibly punky phrase, almost like a thought bubble, which means cool.
Yeah.
Just barking is useless. One needs to bite. It's, wow, very vivid imagery, almost aggressive.
It is vivid, isn't it? And the message is stark. It highlights just how pointless those empty threats or boasts really are. It forces you to ask, okay, what is the real measure of impact then? Is it the big talk? Or is it the actual tangible results you get from putting in the work? The source leaves no doubt. Substance over sound.
That's a fantastic question. It really gets to the core of what this proverb and the source's analysis is all about. So if it's not the big statements, how does the source suggest we, spot the real deal? How do we tell the bite from the bark?
The source really points towards consistency. Yeah, consistency. It suggests looking at whether someone's actions actually match their words over time. It's less about one big dramatic action and more about a reliable pattern. Do they follow through consistently? Real impact. According to this wisdom, it seems to come from that sustained effort, those results you can actually see, not just talk. It's reputation versus just impression.
Okay, so bringing this all together, what does this mean for you listening right now? How does this apply in your world, at work, or, personally?
Well, the source gives some pretty direct advice here. First, it says, be wary of noisy voices. That's kiakolich e aduredensheskli. Basically, look deeper. Don't just take loud talk at face value. See what's actually being done.
Right. Be discerning.
Exactly. But then crucially, it also says trust in one's own actions. Kahanga, klantcase of mentions. Ikamgesi fit for along. And that's not just about judging others, is it? It's also a call to look inward. Are our words backed up by what we do? Are we sometimes the ones just barking? Or are we focusing on the bite, building our own credibility through action?
So this deep dive into what seems like a simple Marathi proverb, it really uncovers something profound and universal, I think.
Yeah.
True influence doesn't come from the volume of your bark. It comes from the quiet, consistent power of your actions.
Yeah, and what's really striking is just how timeless this is. It works across cultures, across time. It just feels true. It really makes you think, doesn't it? In this age of like constant chatter, online performance, everyone making big declarations, how often are we genuinely putting action first before just talking about it? And maybe what could change if we all leaned a bit more into that quiet power of simply, well, doing the work?